Our story begins above, in the heavens. A grand creator is surrounded by his court of loyal angels. Or so he thinks. A traitor is among them. A traitor whose whispers of treachery slither into the minds of those he seeks to corrupt. He is Lucifer, the morning star, the lightbringer, the most exalted of all angels. His majesty and might were second only to God himself. But that wasn't enough. The seed of pride had been growing in Lucifer's heart for quite some time, and it would lead to a cosmic battle of unimaginable scale and consequence. Lucifer began to question his place among the celestial order. Why should he, the most magnificent of all creations, bow down before anyone? His pride twisted into a sinister ambition, a new order where he would rule over all creation as a god. His influence was not to be underestimated. One by one, he gathered like-minded angels to his cause, until a vast secret army was at his command, just waiting for the signal to reveal themselves. Now, before the throne itself, Lucifer unleashes the dagger. His traitor legions attack, and the heavens are thrown into chaos. Brother kills brother. The once serene celestial plains are now battlegrounds, filled with the clamor of clashing weapons and blinding flashes of divine energy. Lucifer revels in the carnage. His unthinkable betrayal has caught heaven by surprise, and they are struggling to hold their ground. He is winning. Lucifer cuts through his former comrades, leaving a trail of death as he makes his way towards the throne. Heaven grows darker and darker as he approaches. All seems to be lost, but then a glimmer of hope descends from above. It's the Archangel Michael, wielding a flaming sword more brilliant than 1,000 suns. This is the battle for everything. It all comes down to this. Michael charges forward, every swing of his sword blazing through the darkness as he clashes with Lucifer. The battle is so fierce and terrible, the ground splinters and the pillars of heaven shake and begin to crumble. Lucifer and Michael strike at each other over and over. The air is filled with terrible sounds of thunderous blows and radiant armor cracking, giving way. Then, a righteous cry of fury rings out. All of heaven becomes eerily quiet and still. Angels, both traitor and loyal, drop their weapons and gaze upon the source. Michael's sword has found its way past once holy armor and into Lucifer's side. They stare at each other, almost in disbelief, as Lucifer's sword slips out of his hand. Michael watches as Lucifer's legs begin to tremble and finally give way. When Lucifer falls, he does not stop. Then, countless voices throughout heaven cry out as legions of traitor angels fall from grace along with Lucifer. They fall into the abyss. For days, years, centuries, our minds can't comprehend how long it must have felt. Their divinity, along with their wings, burnt away during the descent. They watched each other's faces and bodies begin twisting into grotesque and horrific visions. Then everything went black. They awoke in a strange and hostile land. Archangels became archdemons. Among them rose the 7 princes of hell. Leviathan, Prince of Envy. Towering over the infernal seas, his mouth is said to be the Hellgate itself. Leviathan embodies jealousy and spite, and he is often depicted as a massive sea serpent or dragon. In many biblical texts, he is described as a powerful entity of chaos who revels in the destructive nature of envy. But Leviathan has an envy of his own. His hatred for God's creation fuels all of his endeavors. His spite seeks to corrupt the beauty and harmony of the natural world. Leviathan's influence manifests as a gnawing sliver of jealousy that grows, leading to the coveting of others' success, beauty, and happiness. The Book of Job describes him as a creature that no man can conquer, symbolizing envy's stranglehold on humanity. Leviathan's influence can also be felt in cultural narratives across the world where jealousy leads to downfall. The story of Cain and Abel is a prime example, in which envy drives Cain to murder his own brother. Envy has sparked wars, rivalries, and can even tear families apart. Leviathan's domain in hell is an endless dark ocean filled with the drowning souls of the envious. As they gasp for air, they are tormented by visions of what they so desperately coveted in life, but will never possess. It's an eternal cycle of despair and longing. Mammon, Prince of Greed. Mammon promises wealth and power in exchange for human souls. He is often depicted as an extravagant demonic merchant surrounded by gold and jewels. Mammon represents the insatiable desire for wealth and material possessions that can easily consume a person's heart and soul. His influence can be felt in every corner of human society and can lead to acts of theft, exploitation, and corruption. Mammon's greed also extends beyond just money and wealth. It includes a desire for control and power. Since the dawn of humanity, humans driven by greed have caused incredible suffering, from ruthless business tycoons to corrupt politicians. His influence can also be interpreted among stories across many cultures. The Greek myth of King Midas, whose greed led him into peril, is a prime example. King Midas was given the ability to turn things into gold just by touching them. He was delighted until he realized his food became inedible and his water became undrinkable. To his horror, he realized his touch would also affect humans when he accidentally turned his own daughter into a golden statue. To Mammon's delight, King Midas's greed took everything from him. In hell, Mammon operates a vast treasury of unimaginable wealth. Picture a dark, cavernous vault with endless chambers filled with mountains of gold and jewels of every kind. Those whose greed ran their lives on earth now count Mammon's riches in hell. The count never ends and their pockets can never be filled. The two princes of wrath. In the world of demonology, the identity of the Prince of Wrath sparks debate. Some scholars assert that Satan, the ultimate adversary, embodies this destructive fury. Others point to Azazel, the ancient demon of chaos and warfare, as the true holder of the title. During this journey through hell, we will discuss both of their dark legacies and domains. Satan, Prince of Wrath. Though often conflated with Lucifer, Satan is a distinct and separate entity in some traditions. He is portrayed as a raging demon with a dark muscular body, menacing horns, and bat-like wings. His features reflect a blend of both angelic and demonic origins, hinting at his past. In Dante's Inferno, Satan is described as a monstrous three-faced demon trapped in the frozen wailing lake of Cocytus. Satan deals in violence, rage, and vengeance. He stirs up hatred and fury in the hearts of men, driving them to violence and revenge. Every conflict, from personal vendettas to global warfare, is said to be influenced by Satan's will. He revels in the chaos and destruction of it all. Satan's domain is a hellish landscape of fire and ice, where wrathful souls are tormented by their own fury. They are forced to endlessly relive their acts of violence and vengeance as both the aggressor and the victim. They will spend eternity in perpetual rage and their minds will never know peace again. Azazel, Prince of Wrath. In the Book of Enoch, Azazel is depicted as one of the Watchers, fallen angels who lay with human women. Their offspring were said to become the Nephilim, massive titans that were half human, half angel. During the war in heaven, Azazel was a key leader in Lucifer's rebellion against the throne. After his descent, Azazel brought his knowledge of warfare to the race of man. He taught them the secret ways of battle and weaponry, resulting in violence and bloodshed among them. His influence drove humanity to acts of wrath and vengeance on a massive scale. Azazel's actions on earth were so corrupting that they were said to prompt God to send the Great Flood to cleanse the world of his influence and his offspring, the Nephilim. For his transgressions against humanity, Azazel was bound and cast into a remote wasteland of flames to await his final judgment. The air itself there is rage and fury. Like Satan's domain, the souls condemned here relive their moments of wrath, their fury burning hotter every time. They are endlessly tormented and the pain is always increasing. Azazel himself towers over them, his own body burning and powering the inferno of his domain. His eyes shine with eternal anger as he awaits his final punishment. Belphegor, Prince of Sloth. Belphegor was banished from heaven for remaining neutral during the war for the throne. He is said to appear as a demonic satyr, a creature with horns, pointed ears, and sharp, menacing teeth. Sometimes he is depicted as obese and apathetic, often laying or lounging about. Belphegor encourages laziness and complacency, whispering into the ears of humans that effort and responsibility are a waste of time. His influence leads to a life of wasted potential and unfulfillment. Belphegor slowly lures you into a state of inertia by tempting you to procrastinate and neglect your duties and ambitions, both big and small. In folklore, Belphegor is a demon who tricks people with promises of ingenious ways to obtain easy wealth, only to leave them mired in obesity and sloth. Belphegor's influence can be seen throughout history. The decline of once great civilizations, plagued by corruption and inactivity, often reflects the damage that complacency and laziness can cause. Even today, Belphegor's presence can be felt. The allure of convenience and automation dominates the world, and we are always looking for the next new way to remove effort from our lives. Belphegor can be found in the vast, flaming swamps of hell. It's filled with decaying and burning vegetation, gnarled trees, and a foul mist that permeates everything. The humidity is so intense that your own sweat blinds you. Souls punished here for their sloth struggle endlessly in the swallowing muck. Every movement is painfully slow and labored as the swamp drains their strength. The more they struggle, the more the mud pulls them deeper. Belphegor lounges in a dilapidated throne, watching their struggle with lazy indifference. Asmodeus, Prince of Lust. Known for his seductive powers, Asmodeus is often described as a handsome man with only slight hints of his demonic nature. He can also appear as a monstrous demon with 3 heads, a man, a bull, and a ram, hinting at the punishment hiding underneath for such carnal endeavors. Asmodeus is a master of manipulation, using lust to corrupt and dominate the souls of humans. His presence can be felt in the uncontrolled passions and intimate desires that drive us to forsake all moral boundaries. In the Apocrypha's Book of Tobit, Asmodeus falls in love with a human woman named Sarah. This was not a kind love. He tormented Sarah by murdering her 7 successive husbands on their wedding nights. Sarah was eventually saved by the archangel Raphael, who banished Asmodeus back to hell. In some folklore, Asmodeus is considered one of the kings of demons and partly responsible for building the Temple of Solomon. Asmodeus reigns over a hedonistic and decadent domain with palaces of endless pleasure, or so it would seem. Underneath the veneer of indulgence is a nightmare of pain and despair where souls are slaves to their own desires and never gain the satisfaction they once had in life, an eternal parade of flesh that only brings torment. Beelzebub, Prince of Gluttony. Lord of Flies and Chief Lieutenant of the Abyss, Beelzebub is portrayed as a grotesque figure covered in flies, feasting on excess. In some descriptions of him, it's said that his body is actually made up of countless flies writhing around each other, giving him his shape. He is a fanatical and loyal servant of Lucifer. Beelzebub tempts humans into devoting their lives to gluttony of all kinds, food, drink, and any other kind of vice you can think of. The overindulgence he lures you in with leads to physical and spiritual decay, a total breakdown of the body and soul of man. Beelzebub's influence is a cornerstone of the modern world. Everywhere on earth there is a relentless pursuit of excess, whether it's food, material goods, or pleasures. It can all lead to emptiness and decay on both personal and societal levels. Moderation is a trait that Beelzebub does not want you to have in your life. He wants you to indulge in every appetite you have. In hell, Beelzebub sits at the head of a never-ending banquet hall. The food is rotting and putrid, but the souls condemned here cannot resist it. They consume every plate, every drink, every morsel of spoiled food that is placed in front of them for eternity. They are never full and they are never satisfied by their endless meal. Lucifer, Prince of Pride. Once called the Lightbringer and the most beautiful and powerful of God's creations, now Lucifer is the grand ruler of hell. Lucifer paid the ultimate price for his arrogance, hubris, and vanity. Like Satan, Lucifer's appearance is portrayed as an unsettling blend of the demonic and angelic. He is a towering figure, often wearing dark, extravagant armor decorated with intricate infernal symbols. His long, dark hair, still charred from the descent, blends into his now blackened wings. He seems to exude a sense of fading majesty that he desperately seeks to reclaim. Lucifer reaches into the minds of humans and tempts them to place themselves above others, to seek power and glory at any cost. In John Milton's Paradise Lost, Lucifer declares, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." This quote perfectly encapsulates his unyielding pride, even in the face of eternal damnation for his transgressions. In Milton's tale, Lucifer's defeat during the War for the Throne is portrayed as a rare, humiliating blow to his endless pride. The Archangel Michael bests him in single combat, using a sword from God's personal armory to pierce his side and cast him down to hell. Lucifer reigns over hell from a vast black palace, towering over every other domain. It is a reflection of his pride and fallen glory. The decadent halls within are filled with sculptures and tapestries showing scenes of rebellion, defiance, and conquest, all illuminated by streams of molten rock flowing through every chamber. The distant screams of the damned echo through these halls. They are a constant reminder of Lucifer's dominion over all those who enter the gates of hell. In the heart of this infernal palace lies Lucifer's throne room, an opulent grand chamber where demons hold court. There, Lucifer sits on a throne of bone and blood, crafted into a masterpiece of dark artistry. This is where he plots the downfall of God and his creations. His ultimate goal is to lead humanity into open rebellion against God, just as he did. Our souls are Lucifer's greatest weapons. The seven princes of hell are more than just folklore. They symbolize the vices and failings within all of humanity. Each prince tempts and corrupts in his own insidious way, and we can all be led astray by them. Leviathan's envy, Mammon's greed, Satan and Azazel's wrath, Belphegor's sloth, Asmodeus' lust, Beelzebub's gluttony, and Lucifer's pride can all hold sway and lead us down the dark road to hell. When's the last time you felt their influence? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you don't miss the next one.